you gotta look at it this way. They're going against Atlanta. Atlanta is scary.
That's true. Yeah.
But while I will say this, I say that Lamar Jackson will outscore Pat Mahomes.
Okay. And I agree with that. I agree with that too. All right. Anything else you want to touch on these teams, or do you think we can move on?
I'll give them one X factor for each team, and those X factors is actually on their bench.
Ooh. Okay.
I'll just pick out one player that I actually do like. I'm gonna start with Victory Lap. The one player that I've been paying attention to for the last 4 or 5 weeks has been Cole Beasley.
Okay.
Now, even though Cole Beasley is most likely a slot guy, but he has been getting a lot of targets, and the last 2 weeks he's been putting up numbers. So, actually, let's take this back. Since week 5, there's only 2 weeks that Cole Beasley has not scored a touchdown.
Okay.
And as far as James Washington, which is my X factor for game Blouses, he has been pretty hot as a person as well. Over the last 4 weeks, he has scored 3 touchdowns. And most of these has been with the third-string backup quarterback, Devin Hodges. So you can easily tell that Hodges likes to throw it to James Washington a lot, especially the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster is most likely not coming back this week unless he miraculously gets healthy, and they're going against Arizona. So you do the math. A porous Arizona defense, and everybody wins.
That is true. Okay. All right, cool. I think we pretty much done with this matchup. Let's go ahead and jump on to the next matchup, which is King David versus dUB. King David, who I think in the first 5 weeks of the season, I'm not gonna say I did not count him out the chances of making the playoff, but I think others counted him out of the playoff picture. But he surprisingly squeezed his way to the playoff. Like, what do you guys feel about that?
David went from tanking mode to making the playoffs.
Yes.
After going 0-5. I don't know how it happened. He had a little bit of luck here and there, but the rest of it, he just finally just stopped thinking. He just played.
Okay.
That's what it is when it comes to fantasy football. When you stop thinking and you just put in your best players and just hope for the best, good things will happen. That's what it was.
True. Okay. Let's go ahead and start dissecting this team. So King David as quarterback, he has Carson Wentz, and then on the other side, dUB has Sam Darnold. Okay.
This is kind of a hard one to pick from because, number one, Sam Darnold's going against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And like the story goes, anyone that picks against the Dolphins, especially at quarterback, you're going to get no less than 18 points. So those are some solid points. Those are some solid points that he can definitely would want to have, especially come playoff time. Anytime your quarterback can get you no less than 18, that's an automatic win. Well, a moral win, especially for your team. And the fact that Carson Wentz going against the Giants defense, well, the Giants don't scare nobody, and it's going to be on Monday Night Football, so expecting to see plenty of touchdowns. May not be 5, but at least 2.
Okay. So which one do you like versus them two?
If I had to pick between one and the other, I will say Carson Wentz, only because I trust the Dolphins' defense more than the Giants. But that's not even saying a lot.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Okay. All right, let's talk about the running back. Dub already have Elliott. He already played. He already got him a solid 21.3 points. And then he got Josh Jacobs for Oakland going against Tennessee. And then King David have Leonard Fournette going against the Chargers. And then Derrick Henry going against Oakland.
Man. When I tell you this is probably the best groups of running backs going head-to-head in a playoff game, this is definitely it. We're talking about 4 workhorse running backs going head-to-head. Leonard Fournette is a monster. Going against the Chargers defense, he is going to get his points. We already seen what Elliott did against Chicago, so nothing else to say about that. Derrick Henry has been on fire this year. I want to touch a little bit more based on how great Derrick Henry has been. If you want to look since week... Actually, we're not going to start since week. I'm just going to tell you how many bad games he had this year. 2. That was against Denver, and that's against Tampa Bay. All the other games, he's probably had 1 or 2 to 3 games where he had 10 points. All the rest of them, no less than 15.
That's crazy.
And he has multiple 20-point games. As a matter of fact, 3 of his last 4 games that he played, he has scored at least 20 points.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that lets you know that Derrick Henry is the perfect example of do not bench your stud players no matter who he's playing against. You set and forget. Don't act cute. Start your starters and just hope for the best. So I don't think we really need to talk about their running backs because it's basically even. That's how great both sets are. So we could just go ahead to the wide receiver group.
Okay, we could do that.
Running backs is just crazy.
We could do that. All right, so King David got Cooper Kupp and Jones for Detroit. And then Dub has Devontae Adams and Calvin Ridley for Atlanta. What do you think about these set of receivers?
It's actually closer than I thought. On paper, obviously, I would have to pick between one or the other, but if I'm looking at the stats, especially in the last 4 games, Cooper Kupp has not been exciting at all.
Not at all.
As far as Marvin Jones is concerned, he's just a touchdown machine. He just gets touchdowns. That's all it is. So I'm confident that Marvin Jones will get his touches. As far as Cooper Kupp, I'm really hoping that he does bounce back like he did last week. So it's kind of like a wait and see. It's nice to see that Devontae Adams finally scored a touchdown this year. Well, take that back. He scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So he's definitely catching fire right now. So I'm pretty sure he'll be able to keep that momentum going.
Against Washington, I do see that happening. But, injuries has really kept him out of play. But he, like you said, in the last 3, he did have a bye week in there. But last 3 weeks, he's been hot.
Yeah, he's finally got back into his groove, so that's something that is very encouraging. As far as Calvin Ridley, there's really no words to really say. He's putting in the points. Even when he doesn't score, he's still giving you some good points. So it's just a matter of him just getting more targets, and that's it. He'll be okay. And they're going against Carolina. Hey, it's going to be a shootout.
That's true. So which one do you think have the best set of receivers?
As far as receivers, I will have to. Man, this is actually really hard because all four of them get a lot of targets.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to give it to Dub, but it's going to be a very small margin. Only because Devontae Adams is the unquestionable number one receiver, and Cooper Kupp is the number one receiver for the Rams. So, if I had to pick between who would get more touches between Ridley and Marvin Jones, I'll say Ridley, but Marvin Jones has a higher chance of getting a touchdown. So,
yeah,
that's what I said. It would be a very slight margin.
If I had to pick one, I'll go with David. Really. I don't know. I just say David. I kind of had to rethink about it. I'll go with Doug. He got Devontae Adams, who's finally getting back in his groove, going against Washington, and Ridley going against Carolina. Cooper Kupp and Marvin Jones seem to be going against a little bit tougher matchups. So me, I'll put my money on Dub receivers.
Not a bad choice. I'll just keep it at this. Cooper Kupp will get his points no matter what. And Marvin Jones, he did show that even against Chicago on Thanksgiving, he was still able to score a touchdown.
That is true. Okay. So let's move on to the tight end. Dub has Hunter Henry, and David have Robin Griffin, who I think David picked him up the waiver wire this week. And honestly, I've been looking at Ryan. I'm gonna say Robin. I've been looking at Ryan Griffin of a late. I think early in the season, I had my money on was it Chris Herndon? The tight end that they placed on IR. I had my money. Yeah, I had my money on him, but the fact that he was placed on IR, he never was able to even touch the field this year. I think he did, but it was slight. It was nothing. But Ryan Griffin is not a bad tight end to have. Even though tight end is slim picking, but he's not a bad tight end for David.
He's not bad, but he's also not the most consistent at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, majority of the tight ends has not been consistent for the whole year. Probably outside of, I would say, 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the ones you can truly trust, but outside of that, you're kind of just hoping, based off the favorable matchup, that they will get you something.
That is true. How about Hunter Henry on the other side?
Hunter Henry, he's somewhat in the same boat as well. For him, it's a little bit worse considering he's in the Chargers offense. Now, outside of the run game to where Eckler and Melvin Gordon split the carries, in the passing game, Eckler and Keenan Allen gets the majority of the touches.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, unless he's getting red zone targets, he's not going to be looked at often. Because Michael Williams, he gets his touches by the deep ball. Keenan Allen works in the red zone, especially in the slot. And Eckler, he just gets a lot of touches, especially coming out the backfield. So it's like we don't know when he's going to score, but when he does, he shows out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a wait and see approach.
Okay, and I agree with that. So which one we had to pick out of the two?
Out of the two, I would probably have to go with Griffin, only for the fact that he's going up against the Dolphins.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I will go with Griffin as well. All right. Let's move on to the flex player. King David has Todd Gurley as his flex, and Dub has on Julian Edelman. That's not a bad flex to have for David. That's Todd Gurley.
It's funny. Todd Gurley is